Coming up on your KTTC News today, the Rochester Catholic School community is working to make sure families have enough to eat this holiday season. Plus, the cantaloupe recall is expanding. We have the latest. But first, honoring fallen military service members this holiday season. Your weekend morning news starts now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. I'm Charles Kelly. This weekend, the Rochester community came together to honor fallen military service members. Our Matt Rainier was at Soldiers Field for the Civil Air Patrol ceremony of laying wreaths to remember their sacrifice.
The Civil Air Patrol is a volunteer organization which helps in carrying out emergency services across the country.
Our purpose here is to remember not their deaths, but their lives.
And today, they're honoring those who have given their lives for the freedom of the United States as part of the Reefs Across America campaign.
To host an event like this is very important and very honorable for us as an organization through Civil Air Patrol, because we're able to help support our veterans, our service members.
The Civil Air Patrol's Southeast Minnesota Composite Squadron organizes the ceremony every year. As part of today's ceremony, members of the Civil Air Patrol and additional volunteers travel to multiple cemeteries in Rochester, laying wreaths by the graves of those who have served.
We're really happy that people are starting to notice Civil Air Patrol. We offer a lot of things to the community. We do some of the largest inland search and rescue in the United States. It's really just a great thing that we're able to give back, and people are starting to notice and support us as well.
Being able to see everyone who did show up today with the weather not being the greatest, it really shows good support for our service members, our veterans, and just showing that support that, people still do care and people are still passionate about the military, people who have served, everything like that.
In Rochester, Matt Rainier, KTTC News.
This year, the squadron sold 564 wreaths, raising more than $9,000. The season of giving continues on, and Rochester Catholic Schools is getting in on the action with the annual Operation One More campaign. Rochester Catholic School students and other volunteers were hard at work handing out donations at Lourdes High School. Saturday morning from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m., volunteers handed out grocery items to drivers, which were delivered to families in need in the Rochester area. Operation One More began 6 years ago after an RCS parent wanted to start an event to serve the community.
I was doing it out of my garage for the first couple of years. The fact that it's grown to this, that Lourdes has offered storage space for us, I outgrew my garage. To have all of these volunteers from all over the community has been, it's a treasure for all of us.
164 families were served on Saturday from Operation One More, receiving toys and groceries to help them through the holiday season. The Rochester Fire Department responded to a house fire around 5 Saturday evening. RFD says crews arrived to an apartment Exxon 30th Avenue Northwest and found a cooking fire that a resident put out in the kitchen. Smoldering debris was removed from the residence, and RFD used fans to clear the remaining smoke out of the building. Rochester Fire wants to remind people about cooking and kitchen safety. Minnesota Fire Marshal data shows that leading cause of fires last year was due to cooking, causing $6 million in damage. Officials say to never use water to put out a cooking fire and to instead use a fire extinguisher or smother the fire with a tight-fitting lid. Now let's get a check-in on the weather. Our meteorologist David Burgett is joining us on the weather patio. Good morning, David. I feel like the temperatures have been looking a lot better these days. What will it be looking like today? Oh, David, are you there?
Yeah,
there you are, David.
Yeah. Hi, Charles. Yeah, so
how are the temperatures?
Temperatures are pretty stagnant when they were from about 24 hours ago on Saturday morning here. We're into the low 30s again across Rochester and even across the region right now. So we're sitting warmer when we are, but here on the weather patio, it's feeling pretty chilly out here, I'm not gonna lie. So we are sitting a little bit warmer for our overnight lows, like I just said, and we're seeing some feels like temperatures into the mid-20s around Rochester right now. So definitely you need hats and gloves this morning. Taking a look now at our temperatures across the region right now, we are seeing temperatures into the mid to upper 30s right now in some places, even lower 30s. We are going to be seeing some visibility issues there if you're into Cora or into Charles City just a little bit. It is possible to see some patchy fog develop this morning as we go throughout the beginning of your new week. So if you are out this morning, just take it a little bit slower. If you do see some of that fog, a lot of cloud coverage right now. That is hanging out overhead at the moment. We are going to be seeing a lot of that cloud coverage stick around for today for some mostly cloudy skies. So the good thing is we are going to be seeing some clearing in that, and temperatures will be right where we were about yesterday, about into the high 30s for us. And actually, take a look at this, though. I'm going to be the first one to alert you for this week that we are going to be seeing a gradual change overnight in our temperatures as a cold front passes through, and by tomorrow morning we could be sitting around into the teens. So it's going to get that cold tomorrow morning, and even more breezier too. So I'm going to be breaking that down in my full forecast for you in just a few. Charles.
Thanks, David. As we're seeing colder temperatures tomorrow, residents in Florida are facing a weather system that is bringing in tropical storm-like conditions. Saturday evening through this morning have been designated as first warning weather days due to the potential for severe storms. However, the storms are expected to exit by the afternoon today. Governor Ron DeSantis activated the Florida State Guard ahead of this weekend storm. Heavy rain in a short period of time may lead to flooding across parts of Central Florida. Some residents are opting to prepare with sandbags, and others are welcoming the weathering conditions. And hundreds took the street of Tel Aviv on Saturday to demand for the release of hostages still being held captive by Hamas. Streets in Tel Aviv were filled with protesters chanting, holding signs and Israeli flags. Protesters called on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu war cabinet to present a proposal to free the dozens of people still held by Hamas. The protest comes after it was learned that the Israeli military mistakenly killed 3 hostages in Gaza who reportedly had a stick with a white cloth on it. Officials said the hostages were believed to have either been abandoned or escaped Hamas captivity. A preliminary investigation has been launched into the death of the hostages. Health officials say there's an alarming rise in multiple viruses around the country. Morgan Chesky has tonight's health alert.
Are you experiencing any flu-like symptoms?
It's a scene playing out in clinics and hospitals nationwide, prompting an urgent warning from the CDC behind troubling new numbers. The agency alerting doctors flu hospitalizations have spiked 200% over the last 4 weeks. Hospitalizations for RSV and COVID surging as well. A wave of respiratory illnesses officials say is currently spreading fast, especially through the South.
How confident are you these cases are going to keep going up?
I'm 100% certain cases will continue to go up post-holidays.
At her Charlotte hospital, infectious disease doctor Katie Passaretti told us it appears distrust of COVID vaccines is impacting other shots as well. As of last week, the CDC says only about 40% of children and adults have gotten this year's flu shot. The adult COVID vaccination rate barely breaking 17%.
It's really terrifying to me that we're coming out of a pandemic with even lower vaccine rates than we were going in.
Another concern, holiday gatherings exposing new patients.
Sorry.
That doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't feel great.
We met Tracy Mullen on her way to the doctor.
I probably should have come sooner.
But tonight, the message from doctors, better late than never. While it typically takes 2 weeks for vaccines to be fully effective, in a flu season like this one,
at some point I have to close the door and say I can't see any more patients today.
Any protection could be crucial to keeping family close this holiday season. Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
Homelessness in the U.S. hit a record high this year. That's according to a new report from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The 2023 Annual Homelessness Assessment Report shows more than 650,000 people experienced homelessness on a single night in January. That is a 12% increase from the previous year. It is also the highest number of people experiencing homelessness since reporting began in 2007. The data also shows that families with children made up nearly 30% of those who were homeless. which is a 16% increase over the previous year. And as we look ahead to 2024, we are getting ready for the 70th annual KTTC Eagles 5th District Cancer Telethon. This is a big anniversary year as we come together to raise money for cancer research. All the money raised stays right here in southern Minnesota, benefiting researchers at Mayo Clinic, the Hormel Institute, and the University of Minnesota. We hope you'll join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. And coming up on your weekend morning news, 3 deaths have been reported in Minnesota relating to the salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupes. We'll have the latest when we come back. Welcome back. 6:14, the time on your Sunday morning. An important health alert. The ongoing salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupe products is expanding across the U.S. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced there are now 302 cases in 42 states as of Friday. So far, 3 people have died in Minnesota and 1 person in Oregon. Canada has also reported 153 cases with 6 deaths, according to the CDC and the Public Health Agency of Canada. Melchida and Ruby brand whole cantaloupes have been recalled as part of the ongoing salmonella outbreak. They were sold nationwide at Aldi, Quick Trip, Kroger, Trader Joe's, and Sprouts. The CDC is also warning not to eat pre-cut cantaloupe, and if you are unfamiliar with the brand, anyone who has any recalled fruit should return them to the store for a refund or throw them away. And Quaker Oats is recalling more than 24 of its granola bars and granola cereal because the products may be contaminated with salmonella. Overall, the company is recalling 25 types of chewy bars, 10 types of granola bars, and 8 types of granola cereal. The products, some of which are pictured here, are sold throughout the United States. The company says if people have any of the products, they should throw them away immediately. Quaker says it has not received any reports of anyone getting sick. People should visit the company's website for more details on the products the company is recalling. And there's a new announcement from the FDA about certain cinnamon applesauce that potentially poisoned dozens of kids. The agency now says a change to a key ingredient may have been deliberate. Jesse Kirsch reports.
Tonight, the FDA says it is investigating if someone deliberately tampered with ingredients used in certain cinnamon apple puree pouches, using a cheaper product to make more money. It's called economically motivated adulteration, and it may have been responsible for the lead poisoning of dozens of young children.
I think it's absolutely disgusting that you would knowingly do that to make an extra dollar.
Say hi.
Ricky and Sarah Callahan say they regularly gave their son Rudy these Wanabana apple cinnamon fruit puree pouches. Those, as well as Weiss and Schnuck cinnamon applesauces, now all voluntarily recalled due to reports of elevated levels of lead. The Callahans suspect those pouches poisoned their 15-month-old son.
How is he feeling?
So, since he's been diagnosed with lead poisoning, we've found out that Rudy has a little bit of a speech delay.
It's not clear where in the supply chain the puree may have been compromised, but the FDA suspects the cinnamon may be the source of unusually high lead levels. Wanabana did not respond to our request for comment, but has previously said it is working closely with the FDA to investigate the source of the contamination.
Even if they find that it was intentionally put into the cinnamon, even at the source, testing of that product should have occurred at some level.
So far, the FDA has received at least 65 reports of lead poisoning in children under age 6, which doctors say can have serious consequences.
Some stomach upset, a little bit of fatigue, all the way to somewhat permanent and life-altering events such as damage to the brain and developmental delays.
Concerns leaving parents like the Callahans left to worry. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist David Burgett.
Yet another warm morning here in southeastern Minnesota, and not alone here in Rochester. We're seeing temperatures already into the low 30s across the region, and 38 there in La Crosse is the outlier right there. Yesterday morning, about 24 hours ago, they were hitting 40 degrees there. But yesterday in Rochester, we got about up to 39 to 40 degrees here, so we were more mild in terms of yesterday's temperatures. But right now we are seeing some visibility issues, at least if you're in Charles City a little bit and there in Decorah. It is possible that this could be caused by some patchy fog, and we could be seeing some patchy fog really continue throughout this morning for that to develop, and we could see some more milder temperatures through today. So our big weather headlines for this week, before we really get our week started, I want to let you know and alert you that we're going to see a big temperature drop from today into tomorrow and some more blustery conditions when a cold front rolls through. And later this week, we are going to be seeing warmer temperatures again, like we did see last week. So we are going to be seeing some more cloud coverage across the region right now, and we are going to have a cold front that's going to pass through our region. That's actually this occluded front turning into a more cold front this morning. So this low pressure system is going to drop through our region through the overnight hours for tonight, bringing us some really breezy conditions throughout our forecast. And just how breezy are we thinking? Well, already our models are indicating that we are going to be up into the mid to low 30s in terms of our wind gusts. So when this cold front does roll through, it's going to be very breezy. So you might, if you have wind chimes outside during the winter, you never know, you might be feeling those kind of breeze around tomorrow morning. But in terms of our wind chill also, with these breezy conditions, even throughout tomorrow morning, we could be hitting the single digits in terms of our wind chills. So definitely it will be cold tomorrow morning. So if you are going to have kids at the bus stop, make sure they are going to be bundled up like a lot for these conditions. So tracking this out for you this morning, we are having more winds out of the northwest or the west this morning. A lot of cloud coverage will come and go for today. We are going to be seeing temperatures into the 40s. Winds will be out of the northwest, so upper 30s, lower 40s for those high temperatures. By the time we get to about Sunday night tonight, we are going to be seeing the chance for some stray snow to come into our forecast and kind of maybe clip some of more of the western portions or eastern portions of Olmsted County here. So just be aware of that for tonight, that we might see some stray flurries or maybe like a rain-snow mix as we go throughout the morning hours from Sunday into Monday morning. So temperatures tomorrow morning will be into the teens for us here, and we're also going to be seeing a lot of some colder conditions through tomorrow when that cold front does pass through. Winds will be more out of the north, and temperatures will be into the low 20s for us across the region. But throughout this week, we are going to be seeing a jump in our temperatures from tomorrow to be about almost 10 degrees, more than 10 degrees here, and into the 40s by next week, so this coming week. So we are going to be seeing a warming trend like we did see last week. In our last for the rainfall, well, we are going to be seeing the potential for some rainfall on Thursday night into Friday morning based on some long-term guidance from some models. But for today, we are going to be seeing some little gaps in the clouds for some mostly cloudy skies, temperatures into the upper 30s, and tomorrow we're going to see colder and blustery conditions with even wind speeds up to staying about 20 to 25 miles per hour for tomorrow. And this week we'll see a little bit more sunshine in the forecast for us here, along with those warmer temperatures in the forecast for us this week.
Really got to make sure tomorrow that we're bundling up, and then we're going to be warming back up again by the end of the week.
It's typical Midwestern weather.
I know, it's reminding me of fall when we were like, you know, it's still pretty warm, I'm ready for the sweater weather. And then all of a sudden it was dropping down to where we had to pull out our jackets and it was snowing on Halloween. And then it was warm again, and then it was really cold.
Right.
And now we're kind of going back and forth with that Midwestern weather.
Yeah, just back and forth, you know.
Yeah, so be sure to stay warm out there. All right, thanks, David. And just ahead, it's that time again. Many are starting their holiday travels. What experts are predicting for this busy holiday traveling season, just after the break. You want fries with that? If you ordered food with Grubhub this year, chances are you said yes. And we know that because the food delivery service released a list of its most delivered food items for 2023. French fries were the top ordered side dish. And not just with burgers, more than 600,000 customers paired them with a salad. People also kept things spicy. 91,000 customers added sriracha to their meals. And night owls relied on delivery to fuel their evenings with caffeine. Grubhub reports filling more than 10 million late night orders for coffee. And the holiday travels is heating up as long lines begin to fill the nation's airports. Major airlines and airports have been preparing for months to meet the holiday season's unprecedented demand. AAA projects 115.2 million travelers will head 50 miles or more from home over the 10-day year-end holiday travel period. Airlines are utilizing various measures such as new screening machines to manage the influx of travelers. This year's total number of domestic travelers is a 2.2% increase over the last year and the second highest year-end travel forecast since 2000, when AAA began tracking holiday travel. AAA's Senior Vice President of Travel said more Americans are investing in travel despite the cost. 2019 remains the busiest Christmas and New Year's travel period on record, with 119 million travelers. Animal care teams at Disney World in Orlando, Florida are celebrating a milestone birth. They announced Saturday the birth of an African elephant calf at Disney's Animal Kingdom. It is the first calf born at the theme park in 7 years. The baby girl is named Cora, and she weighs 218 pounds. Officials say she is now bonding with her mother, Nadira. She was born at the park in 2005. Disney's Animal Kingdom is known for its commitment to wildlife conservation and education. The park is home to various animals, and many of them participate in breeding programs to help conserve endangered species. A brave little girl in Duluth is battling something many of us could never imagine. Her heart isn't doing its job, and the doctors tell her she needs a new one. Mitchell Zimmerman has the story.
At Lester Park Elementary, you'll find bustling classrooms of first graders learning new subjects. And you'll find one girl with a super shiny backpack.
Roya.
Little Roya Snyder has 25 friends in her first grade class.
We color and we do a puzzle.
But Roya has had to face some other hard challenges besides puzzles.
I can't remember. I think I fainted. They leave them in the same bag.
5 months ago, Roya was on the bus when she started not feeling well. After her parents, Maya and Derek, took her to the hospital, they found out she was diagnosed with
cardiomyopathy,
a heart condition. That means the heart isn't the right shape, doesn't pump right, or doesn't empty blood fully.
She really has had to give up a lot in the past year, 5 months.
Yeah. Giving up her love of tennis and soccer, and has traded it in for...
We have to flush her lines every 12 hours. We have to change the whole tubing every 48 hours.
Her parents often drive her 4 hours to the Mayo Clinic and still sometimes don't understand how they got here.
Hard to wrap your head around that it's happening, I think.
And while they can't answer every question Roya has for them, they have a team of doctors ready to help.
I think since going to the Mayo, we've definitely found ourselves feeling hope and hopeful.
And Mayo not only is helping little Roya, but also her fellow classmates.
Has anybody heard of the Mayo Clinic before?
No, yet me.
The clinic spent almost an hour Friday explaining Roya's condition and her backpack, which gives her medicine to keep her heart pumping, to her classmates who were
super attentive, the most attentive they've been.
Stephanie Wolf has had to answer many questions from her students, but seeing them take care of Roya has been a joy.
Like, I got a little teary-eyed listening to them share their suggestions about how to be a good friend and how to help.
And while she may face a big challenge, there's still plenty of laughs, smiles, treats, and fun. And that's all because of the support around her.
You know, at the end of It's a Wonderful Life, when everybody comes in for George Bailey, I just feel like that lately. Like, we have so many people in the community, in our families, and people we don't even know that are just constantly doing wonderful things for us.
Thank you.
And stay with us because your weekend morning news continues, honoring fallen military service members this holiday season here in Rochester when we come back. Good morning. If you're just joining us, I'm Charles Kelly. 6:31, the time on your Sunday morning. The Rochester community came together to honor fallen military service members. Our Matt Rainier was at Soldiers Field for the Civil Air Patrol ceremony of laying wreaths to remember their sacrifice.
The Civil Air Patrol is a volunteer organization which helps in carrying out emergency services across the country.
Our purpose here is to remember not their deaths, but their lives.
And today, they're honoring those who have given their lives for the freedom of the United States as part of the Reefs Across America campaign.
To host an event like this is very important and very honorable for us as an organization through Civil Air Patrol, because we're able to help support our veterans, our service members.
The Civil Air Patrol's Southeast Minnesota Composite Squadron organizes the ceremony every year. As part of today's ceremony, members of the Civil Air Patrol and additional volunteers travel to multiple cemeteries in Rochester, laying wreaths by the graves of those who have served.
We're really happy that people are starting to notice Civil Air Patrol. We offer a lot of things to the community. We do some of the largest inland search and rescue in the United States. It's really just a great thing that we're able to give back, and people are starting to notice and support us as well.
Being able to see everyone who did show up today with the weather not being the greatest, it really shows good support for our service members, our veterans, and just showing that support that, people still do care and people are still passionate about the military, people who have served, everything like that.
In Rochester, Matt Rainier, KTTC News.
This year, the squadron sold 564 wreaths, raising more than $9,000. The Rochester Fire Department responded to a house fire around 5 Saturday evening. RFD says crews arrived to an apartment on 30th Avenue Northwest and found a cooking fire that a resident put out in the kitchen. Smoldering debris was removed from the residence, and RFD used fans to clear the remaining smoke out of the building. Rochester Fire wants to remind people about cooking and kitchen safety. Minnesota Fire Marshal data shows the leading cause of fires last year was due to cooking, causing $6 million in damage. Officials say to never use water to put out a cooking fire and to instead use a fire extinguisher or smother the fire with a tight-fitting lid. Residents in Florida are facing a weather system that is bringing in tropical storm-like conditions. Saturday evening through this morning have been designated as first warning weather days due to the potential for severe storms. However, the storms are expected to exit by the afternoon today. Governor Ron DeSantis activated the Florida State Guard ahead of this weekend storm. Heavy rain in a short period of time may lead to flooding across parts of central Florida. Some residents are opting to prepare with sandbags, and others are welcoming the warming conditions. Speaking of weather, let's get a check-in on the weather. Our meteorologist David Burgett is on the weather patio. Good morning, David. I know we're not seeing rain now, but we are seeing some colder temperatures moving in.
No, we're not seeing any rain this morning. I know some of us did see some rain yesterday morning, and I think a little bit through yesterday afternoon too in some of our counties, but we're all dry this morning, which is a good thing. We are going to be seeing temperatures this morning for our overnight lows where they are about 24 hours ago into the mid to lower 30s across the region. Unless you're in La Crosse there, you're going to see the upper 30s at 38 degrees. We are going to be seeing some visibility issues a little bit if you're into northeast Iowa near Decorah and Winnebago County. So there is a potential for some patchy fog to develop throughout this morning. So just take a little bit slower if you are going to be on the roads. But we do have a lot of cloud coverage that's hanging overhead this morning. That's going to be kind of sticking with us today. We could see a few breaks in the clouds in terms of that cloud coverage for some sunshine, but that occluded front, all the purple there, is turning into a cold front, and that cold front, and I think another cold front, is going to pass through the region through overnight hours tonight, bringing us some really breezy conditions and also some nicer conditions, at least for today. Before that cold front runs through, we'll see nicer conditions for today with temperatures peaking into the 30s. But like I was mentioning, that cold front is going to roll through here into tomorrow morning, bringing us breezy conditions and temperatures into the teens by tomorrow morning. That's what I'm tracking in my next forecast for you. You don't want to miss it.
Thanks, David. Hundreds took the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday to demand for the release of hostages still being held captive by Hamas. Streets in Tel Aviv were filled with protesters chanting, holding signs and Israeli flags. Protesters called in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's war cabinet to present a proposal to free the dozens of people still held by Hamas. The protest comes after it was learned that the Israeli military mistakenly killed 3 hostages in Gaza who reportedly had a stick with a white cloth on it. Officials said the hostages were believed to have either been abandoned or escaped Hamas captivity. A preliminary investigation has been launched into the death of the hostages. An Atlanta woman and former Facebook employee has pleaded guilty to stealing more than $4 million while she was an executive at the company. Starting in 2017 through 2021, Barbara Furlow Smiles worked as a lead strategist at Facebook, now known as Meta. According to the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia, Furlow Smiles fraudulently used Facebook funds to live a lavish lifestyle in California and Georgia. The money was used on things like hairstylists, babysitters, and $18,000 went towards preschool tuition. Furlow Smiles would link her company credit card to PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, then use those cards to pay others for services never performed. The scheme also included associates, families, and friends. Her sentencing is scheduled for March 19th. Alex Jones is asking the families of the Sandy Hook school shooting to accept a small fraction of more than $1 billion of debt that he owes to them. The InfoWars host had declared bankruptcy after being ordered to pay nearly $1.5 billion in damage to several of the families. It came after he lost a pair of civil cases over false claims saying the 2012 shooting was a hoax. According to the court documents filed Friday, Jones proposed a settlement that would guarantee the group at least $5.5 million a year for a decade. The families would also receive 70% of the money he raises by selling personal property that is not exempt from bankruptcy law. In exchange, the families would give up all legal claims against Jones. An attorney for some of the families say they are examining the plan. The proposal comes a month after the Sandy Hook families filed court documents where they suggested Jones pay at least $8.5 million per year for a decade. They had also asked for 50% of his annual income over $9 million. A hearing for the judge to consider the proposals is set for the end of February. And stay with us because Julian Mitchell will have our Wake Up Sports. We'll be right back.
Good morning, friends. I'm Julian Mitchell. Hope everyone's doing good on this Sunday. Now, the Vikings are not. Saturday, a tough one for the team. Minnesota falling 27-24 to the Bengals in overtime. Vikes led 17-3 in the third quarter as the defense really slowed down the Bengals offense. The second half, a different story. Nick Browning finished with 324 yards passing, 2 TDs and a pick, while Nick Mullins hit his first start since 2021 at 303 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 interceptions. The real tough play, QB sneak, 2 of them actually in OT on third and fourth and inches. Mullins was stuffed, and the Bengals eventually got into field goal range. Vikes dropped to 7-7 on the year, faced the NFC North leading Lions on Christmas Eve. And lastly, the Vikes weren't the only ones in action. Both the Wolves and Wild had home games last night. Timberwolves knocked off the Pacers 127-109. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns went off. Ant with 37 points. Cat with a 40-piece wing dinner, 12 boards on the side. Next up for the Wolves, a matchup with Jimmy Butler and the Heat on Monday. As for the Wild, well, John Hines' squad keeps rolling, picking up a 2-1 win in shootouts over Vancouver. It's Minnesota's 3rd win in a row. The team is now 7-2 under Hines. We'll travel to Pittsburgh to face the Penguins on Monday. That is a look at sports. It's a good day. Have a great day.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist David Burgett.
And we're almost having weather deja vu, at least in terms of our temperatures here. Yesterday morning, we did see some rain throughout the area, but we are seeing drier conditions. But temperatures pretty much the same as yesterday, into the mid to lower 30s here in Rochester. All those overcast skies, like we saw yesterday, are keeping our temperatures warmer for in December right now for getting here towards Christmas. Slowly here, we are seeing some warmer temperatures here out in Rochester and across the region, we are going to see temperatures into the mid-30s to lower 30s, depending where you are across the region. And we are seeing some visibility issues if you're going to be more near Decorah and Winnebago County here. So if you're going to be in Winnebago County this morning, you're going to be driving, just take a little bit slower because you might be seeing some patchy fog. But the main weather headlines we are going to be watching and we're going to be tracking for this week, it's going to be a cold front. That's going to be our next system. That's going to roll through tomorrow night, bringing down our temperatures and bringing some blustery winds into the forecast for tomorrow morning and through the afternoon. By later this week, we are going to be warming up again for another warming trend into the 40s. So that's a good thing, but we have to get through this cold front that's going to come through our region tomorrow for us. So this cold front is going to be situated right above us here near Duluth. That's going to come through us through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning, bringing us some windy conditions. Just how windy are we going to get? Well, we could be seeing wind gusts, I think, a little bit higher than 25 miles per hour here, potentially into the lower 30s for us, and even some sustained winds around 20 to 25 miles per hour before Tuesday, potentially going to be hitting the 40s on Tuesday. We'll see about that as the week goes on, but tomorrow is what the big focus is on. And with the winds, we are going to see the wind chill forecast steadily decrease through today. We are going to be seeing the wind chills be into the lower 20s for us, but tomorrow morning around 4 a.m. even at 6 a.m. we could be seeing wind chills into the single digits for us here across the region. And that's going to be very cold for us, so make sure kids are going to be bundled up. But tracking this out for you, we are going to be seeing temperatures into the 30s here across the region for today. We're going to see that cloud coverage come and go, but wind speeds will be out of the northwest for us, and we are going to be seeing temperatures into the upper 30s for us this afternoon. And by tonight, some of us could see some stray snow showers that come through the region, or more of a wintry mix, rain-snow mix. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be out through tonight. And by tomorrow morning, we are going to be seeing temperatures into the teens across much of southeastern Minnesota and northeast Iowa. When that cold front does come through, tomorrow afternoon we'll be sitting into the low 20s with winds out of the north, making it feel very, very chilly outside. So for the temperature trend this week, we are going to be warming up back into the 30s, but we're going to say hello again to the 40s by Wednesday through probably Saturday this week. So as we make our way towards Christmas and the holiday season, really the heart of it, we're going to see warmer temperatures than today, actually. So we'll be seeing temperatures today into the 30s here, and then some cloud coverage that's going to dissipate into the afternoon hours for some mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, again, cold and blustery with winds out of the northwest at 20 to 25 miles per hour. So that's not something to take too lightly here across the region as we make our way into the new start of the week and to the work week tomorrow with those awful cold-like conditions.
It's starting to sound more like December.
Yeah, for a small blip of time.
For like a day. And then we're going to go back up to almost like those fall temperatures, which, you know, I can't really complain.
Can't really complain.
I don't do well in the cold, so I can't really complain.
Yeah,
but
you're getting all the warmth that you want.
I guess we'll see a little bit of maybe flurries overnight. That can make it feel a little more like the holiday spirit.
Yeah, just a little bit there.
And then it'll warm back up.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, David. Coming up, 3 deaths have been reported in Minnesota relating to the salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupes. We'll have the latest when we come back. Welcome back, 6:52 on your Saturday morning. A Florida woman is glad to be alive after a quick-thinking teenager saved her life. After seeing a woman being swept out into the ocean from an inlet, Jacob Thompson jumped in to help her, and now he's being called a hero. Lily Oritz talks to him about how and why he threw himself into a dangerous situation.
I jump in and everything happened like that, like super fast. I gotta jump in.
A fun afternoon for 17-year-old Jacob Thompson at the Boynton Beach Inlet quickly turned tense. Cell phone video captures the moment he jumps off the seawall and into the inlet to help rescue a woman being swept out into the ocean 2 weeks ago.
I just swam as fast as I can to get her, and by the time I got to her, she was pretty I want to say lifeless, but she was very tired, very worn out and tired from obviously struggling, trying to get out of the water.
Risking his own life without hesitation.
She was really sorry. That's all she was saying the whole time. She was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I was like, you don't have to be sorry about anything.
He eventually got her to the seawall. That's when 2 men pulled them out. First responders arrived moments later. Were you scared?
I think the adrenaline took over. I didn't really have any emotions at that point.
It's unclear why the woman jumped in.
I've heard people say a phone dropped in the water, but I'm not sure 100%. I'm not even sure how long she was in the water.
This rescue highlights the dangers of this inlet because of the fast-moving currents.
If someone is to go into the inlet like what happened in November, it's a race against time to try to help those people, get them out of the water as fast as possible.
That's why Boynton Beach Fire Rescue has one of the largest team of divers ready to respond.
We are able to have a pretty extensive dive team because the water is so unforgiving. You know, time is definitely our greatest enemy when it comes to water calls. We have a shirt and a hat just from our department.
Some of them honored Jacob for going above and beyond, a moment this Santa Lucia's high school senior will never forget.
It's kind of like looking up to somebody because that's who I aspire to be one day, a firefighter.
Jacob and his family have a lot to be thankful for this holiday, and they're enjoying the feeling that comes with doing the right thing.
Would you do it again?
I would, 100%.
An important health alert. The ongoing salmonella outbreak linked to cantaloupe products is expanding across the U.S. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced there are now 302 cases in 42 states as of Friday. So far, 3 people have died in Minnesota and 1 person in Oregon. Canada has also reported 153 cases with 6 deaths, according to the CDC and the Public Health Agency of Canada. Melchida and Ruby brand whole cantaloupes have been recalled as part of the ongoing salmonella outbreak. They were sold nationwide at Aldi, Quick Trip, Kroger, Trader Joe's, and Sprouts. The CDC is also warning not to eat pre-cut cantaloupe. If you are unfamiliar with the brand, anyone who has any recalled fruit should return them to the store for a refund or throw them away. And as we look ahead to 2024, we are getting ready for the 70th annual KTTC Eagles 5th District Cancer Telethon. This is a big anniversary year as we come together to raise money for cancer research. All the money raised stays right here in southern Minnesota, benefiting researchers at Mayo Clinic, the Hormel Institute, and the University of Minnesota. We hope you'll join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for the cancer research. And don't go anywhere because we'll get a final check on the weather when we come back. Welcome back. Here's the perfect excuse to have some French toast or pancakes because today is National Maple Syrup Day.
You know, it is a day to celebrate the syrup's rich and sweet flavor.
It's made by taking the sap of a sugar maple tree. Then it's boiled to remove water, and is officially maple syrup once the liquid is 2/3 sugar. Aside from pouring some on your waffles, you can also use syrup to add glazed meats for baking and to add flavor to a sauce. I've also seen like it almost can be used in a substitution for like vanilla extract when you're baking. So I mean that was just one time when I was out of vanilla extract. It's like you can use maple syrup. So interesting. I think just the sweetness adds to it. But I mean, are you more of a waffle, pancakes, or French toast guy?
You know, I always say it's pancakes, but I really think it's French toast because I've been making that a lot the last few weeks.
Yes.
So
I think growing up I had a lot of pancakes, and then it was like my mom went into a phase of waffles, but I love some French toast or like some stuffed French toast as well.
Yeah. And always add more fruit onto it, whipped cream, anything you really want, strawberries, bananas. So it's kind of endless possibilities.
Yeah, some warm breakfast, but now we're looking at some colder temperatures.
Yeah, or warmer temperatures towards the end of the week, but we're going to see colder temperatures tomorrow and breezier conditions as a cold front makes its way through for Monday. So just be aware of that. We have wind chills potentially in the single digits by tomorrow morning.
So stay warm. The temperatures will be warm enough. Have a great rest of your weekend.